What's up, Lavender? Great to see you.
How's it going?
Awesome, dude. Always good to hear from you. I'm really so disappointed, like uber disappointed. You want to talk real quick? Make sure we don't make the same mistake we made last time.
For sure, for sure. Yeah,
Beautiful. You're showing up. You're showing up in my OBS on the right
awesome.
channel this time. Yeah, for those who don't know, Lavender and I did an interview. It went amazing. I'm now super excited for PokeForce, mostly because of like what Lavender has talked about, like his story, his world building, and a lot of the systems they went over are super intimidating for PokeForce. But yeah, we'll be talking about it again today. Thank you for coming on again.
Thank you for having me.
So we went over classes. Do you want to describe that? That's the main thing that was like shocking to all of us.
Classes, yeah, for sure. So on release, we'll be featuring 5 classes. The trainer class, which is the sort of default, as close to default experience that PokeForce will offer to original Pokemon. We'll have the artisan class, which is like the crafter. The ranger, which is sort of a story-based battle and capture class, the farmhand and the rancher, which they're similar. They both start with a location, so you'll have a farm or you'll have a ranch, and then you'll have to maintain that, pay off your debt, kind of work your way up the ladder, sort of deal. And I think, am I forgetting one? I don't think so. Yeah,
You went over breeder. You went over the trainer class, which is going to be more of the traditional like
yeah.
PvP oriented, shiny hunting oriented class. Do you want to go down the systems and the advantages each ones would have, and like so they can know what might be appealing to them off rip?
Absolutely. So the trainer, like here, each class, as you level up your trainer rank, um, you'll unlock perks at each milestone level. So like the first one you get that we have planned at the moment for the trainer is Curveball, which gives you bonus XP when you catch a Pokemon. Sort of how like the new games kind of function, where you get XP across your party when you capture. That'll be a trainer exclusive mechanic. I think when you reach level, I think it's trainer rank 10 is when you unlock that.
And they like diverge, kind of like a Borderland system. And but you said you're interested. It's not confirmed. Nothing's confirmed, obviously, guys. But you said if you choose a perk for a specific class, you would like some mechanism to respec, or at least have like a trial period to see if you like it, right? And specifically with classes, right? You said
No, that's the skills.
the
So
skills.
class perks, it's like there's 6 per class, and you just unlock them as you get better. The skills, however, when you reach milestone skill levels, you'll have a choice between 2 different perks. And then, yeah, I'd love to have an ability to respec if you ended up taking something that you just never use, or you realize in the end game, oh, this perk would have been much better. Stuff like that. It's nice to give the player, the ability to have some trial and error.
Yeah, of course. And then we went over like what was the gonna set us apart. What was your for people thinking this is gonna be similar to MMO? How are you guys gonna do your own identity? And we've already talked about this, of course, but I know you said like, well, I'll just rephrase, right? This is it kind of stinks because you and I know exactly what we want to say, but we've already done it. But so last time when Lavender and I were talking, he went over the fact that um, this is going to be 2 different games. People like myself are going to play PokeMMO still, and then people are going to still play PokeForce. PokeForce being more of a Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon, RuneScape type MMO, like more of an MMO than PokeMMO will be. So he doesn't really see like stealing audience. He only sees like some people might prefer this one, some people might still play MMO. Do you want to go over what separates?
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, from the beginning, people were saying, "Oh, are you guys are going to be the PokeMMO killer?" And I never liked that, because what PokeMMO offers is vanilla Pokemon with friends, and that's awesome. It's a great service to offer. we're doing, this is going to be different. So it's going to be, you got your own like level to maintain. We plan to have player health, so you as a player can faint. We have a whole bunch of mechanics surrounding that. Skilling. There's obviously the original gameplay loop of just capturing and training Pokemon. But we build off of that core mechanic with, like, we have the Enraged Pokemon that's going to be a staple feature, which is Pokemon that chase you down and battle you, like they're after you. And it can get quite overwhelming if it goes the way I envision it. Some big things that'll be different. It's just like dungeon running is planned.
When we talked about the enraged mechanic, you said there was going to be like there's pictures on your Discord of like a big wide open area with a giant Pokemon surrounded by smaller Pokemon. You said it'd be similar to the alpha mechanic. Do you want to go over that a little bit?
Oh, for sure. I think you have people asking for the volume to get bumped up as well. I can't do that on my end, but
I have you at 200%, and then I have max volume. Maybe this will help. Yeah, no, I think this is the highest achievable volume, but I can fix it in post, so don't worry.
Oh, okay.
As long as there is volume to fix.
That picture is of an enraged den. So you'll find areas of routes that have enraged Pokemon, and if you sort of venture into those areas, you'll find a sort of gap in the trees, and if you enter that, it's the enraged den, which has the alpha enraged Pokemon inside. So the goal that we have planned for that is you can try to do this solo, but you and a party can go in, and it'll be sort of the gameplay loop I see and how I want it to work is you have the alpha, which you can defeat and capture, but there's going to be like egg nodes around the enraged den that you have to harvest, and that'll take time. So you'll need your party to sort of fend off the horde of enraged Pokemon that are spawning and trying to get you out of there, while you've got a couple people trying to grab these eggs and getting out with them. And then there's also resource nodes inside of Enraged Den, so higher tier loot, some risk and reward sort of deal.
What can we expect from these eggs? Like, are there going to be special mechanic involving them, better IVs, hidden abilities?
Yeah, so the whole thing about Enraged Pokemon is that they have better IVs.
Okay.
Their RNG is weighted better than all the normal Pokemon. And the caveat is that only players that have the stun baton can catch enraged Pokemon, and the ranger starts with that equipment item. They don't start with it. They get it early into their quest line, but...
And it'll be harder for other players and classes to obtain it. That's like what you were saying with like the breeder getting early access to the ranch, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you could always travel to the Lake of Rage, and you could do a quest line to get yourself a stun baton. But that wouldn't happen. That'd be like a mid to late game sort of deal. So you're going to be relying on rangers if you want enraged Pokemon. That's sort of their entry into the economy would be offering enraged Pokemon on the trade system.
We're gonna go to this one. Oop. All right. But so regarding the class balancing, because I know you said stuff like the breeder is going to have its own ranch. Well, we haven't even talked about the ranch mechanic. You want to talk about the ranch mechanic and breeding?
Yeah, sure. Do I have? So the rancher class, it's almost Animal Crossing Stardew Valley-esque. You get a ranch, but it's not for free. You have a debt to pay. So you have to sort of renovate it, build it up, kind of skill up, catch your Pokemon that you want to breed. The rancher will have a lot of quests that revolve around like, oh, this character is looking for this species of Pokemon within this IV range. So you'll go out and you'll, try to get breed those Pokemon so you can get that trainer experience from those quests, unlocking new stuff. You'll have habitat plots, which is where you stick your Pokemon, because a Pokemon won't breed until it's comfortable. So you stick them into a habitat and you sort of tailor the habitat towards their type. So if you have a water flying type, you're going to probably want to have a base water habitat and then decorate it with flying type objects, and that'll give it boosts. And once they're comfortable, then they'll breed. And then you can either take the egg and keep it on your person and walk around with it as, you normally would. Or if you're far enough along and you've unlocked the hatchery, you can stick it into an incubator. And the incubator is planned to have different modules that sort of give you higher percent chances for things to carry over between the Pokemon. So if you have the IV module, like the attack IV module, you stick that into the incubator and it will up your chances of that Pokemon having its parents' IV or attack IV.
And a cool thing that also differences you from MMO that we went about last time is you don't kill the parents in your game, right? You just breed them once. They become locked to that character, not account that character, right? Because you can have multiple characters per account, and then that's going to be a bit intimidating, which we can go over. But you were talking about how you breed once. It's no longer able to be listed for sale, right? And then you have the one Pokemon that comes off of it, and then that one Pokemon can breed. But either of the two parents can't breed again once they've already bred once, right?
Yes. Yeah, so, well, first off, the whole multiple character thing, that's something that we want. We haven't really touched on it yet. That's not how our system's set up at the moment. But it is something that we definitely want. It'll make it a lot easier for the player, I think, if they have control over having multiple characters rather than a whole bunch of different accounts. But yeah, regarding the Pokemon, once it's bred, it's untradeable. It can no longer breed again, and we have plans for a very expensive item that you can get from the Pokemon Sanctuary that will allow a Pokemon to breed again. But in order to get that item, you have to basically release Pokemon at the Pokemon Sanctuary, which gives you points based off of that donated Pokemon's IVs. Is it shiny? Is it not? What level is it? So the better Pokemon you donate, the more points you'll get. There'll be all sorts of stuff in the vendor for that. But
is the shiny Pokemon shiny going to carry over if it's between two shiny parents of the same species?
we did talk about that, but I think it's to be decided whether we want that to be a guaranteed thing or a percentage thing. There's kind of pros and cons with both, so I can't really guarantee anything regarding that at the moment.
Okay. And then we've already talked about original trainer ID. That would be going to the account. So if in the event that like you have a breeder character, you have this character, each for their intended purpose and passive skills, right? Because you want to be getting the most out of, if you're shiny hunting, you want a trainer and X character, right? But you said that the original trainer ID would most likely be done via the account, not the characters, right? So you don't have to worry about it having a different name if you catch it on your trainer and your primary is a breeder, right?
Yeah, I think that would go. That'd be a much better way to go about it for sure. Is if the account holds it rather than individual characters. It'd just become messy, I think.
And obviously, a lot of the MMO players returning would be pretty upset with the idea that like they have their shiny character and then their main character, the IDs don't match, so they don't get the cloud associated and what have you.
Well, exactly, right. And it would make things like the lucky number channel easier on our end for sure. If
So when
anything that we want to do, like if we want to use the trainer ID as an RNG or some sort of mechanic, I think it'd just be easier to maintain if the player knows exactly which one they have rather than, oh god, which character am I on?
Yeah, we can see that being an issue. And somebody asked last time about the Final Fantasy type system where you have a character and like it picks up a lance, for instance. Now it's a lancer and it has 100 levels to go as a lancer, and then it picks up like a sorcerer book. Now it has 100 levels. There's going to be no class switching per character. The idea is
No.
it's stuck with it, whatever identity it chooses.
Yeah, so the class determines your sort of your central gameplay loop and your perks. So each class has a class quest line that is specific to that class. Like the ranger is different than the trainer is different than the artisan. And so essentially if you were to if we were to allow it, it would basically set you back to 0. It's just not viable. And then to also allow having one player character have all of them, it would break the game. It would just, you'd be so overpowered in all aspects that balancing would become a nightmare.
And you said you plan on capping level 100 hard cap. No level 180, no Stardew Valley. Everybody's racing to like be level 1 billion and stuff. You're going to just make a hard cap at level 100.
Yeah, all skills, trainer rank, and Pokemon are planned to cap at level 100.
You talked about feigning, right? We didn't talk about feigning last time. Are there expected penalties for feigning or?
Well, faint. Yeah, so it'll be a percentile of your money as per usual.
Gross. Is there going to be a bank system? I saw that we had the banks in the demo last time, but there should be an ability to store so we can prevent it. Okay.
Yeah. And I have some ideas around that where I was looking into the lore, or I guess it was more so not lore, it was concept and theory that it's like, why do trainers give you a portion of their money every time you battle? And I forget where it might have been even been a YouTube video, but it's really interesting from like a governmental perspective how like the society is based around battle and challenging. You have to maintain it some way, and there has to be some sort of economic buy-in. So I've been considering that like in order to battle, you'll need a minimum amount of money. I don't know though. That could come with its own set of issues. That's just me thinking about how I can get around people just always having their money in their bank. There's no penalty at all for losing. But that's all just theory crafting at that point.
And you said that it's going to have a story that builds off Gen 2. So every Gen 1 through Gen 2 is already canonized. And by proxy, Gen 3 will laterally be canonized because it's occurring at the same time as the story of the event. And we plan to have a further outreach of the story, and that's kind of your area focused. Also, since we kind of skipped over it, the developers in question, what are your roles? What do you do? Let's go on that. That's the most important thing.
Sorry, my role or the...
So there's 3 of you, right? And then you are the story crafter, so to speak, and then you have everybody.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
Yeah, so the 3 of us at the top of Runeforce Studios, it's Allie, Tristan, and me, Lavender. Tristan is our financial advisor and our system administrator. He sort of handles the servers, and he's the one who kind of started the company and whatnot, got it registered. Allie is our main programmer and the studio director. She handles the brunt of implementation and programming. And I'm the game director. I handle the brunt of story crafting. I'm the soul map editor. I dabble in sprite art, quest writing. And then, and then Allie and I both have our individual teams. I have the design team. She has the dev team.
As for the story, do you want to talk about your vision?
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, Gen 1 and 2 and 3 are canon. They happened. That's our history, basically. 2 years after the events of Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Pokemon began raging. They started pouring out of the woods and attacking people. It was a nightmare. Cities got razed, cities got sieged. There's actually a village in the demo you'll see the effects of the aftermath, sort of. They've rebuilt now, but there's some dialogue you can find that talks about how their village was just completely overrun and destroyed. And it's been 15 years since that happened, which sets the game in 2016. And basically, it became illegal for children to become trainers because it was just too dangerous to have kids out there. So the Pokemon Rangers were militarized and sent out by the government to sort of maintain this issue. And the Pokemon Research Institute, which would be the institute that the professors work for, they all set off and set out to figure out what's going on. And it's been 15 years of very little information popping up. And when the game starts, the Rangers have now successfully made the majority of main paths on routes traversable again, which has prompted the government to allow 15-year-olds to begin training Pokemon again. And it is the story is going to revolve around why did the Pokemon become enraged? Did somebody cause it? Is it a natural phenomenon? Like, where's the origin of it? And how can we stop it? In the last demo, we had the Nuria questline, which is the beginning of the main story questline, which will be available for all classes to participate in. We're thinking after your first or second, maybe even third gym badge is when that questline becomes available. And it kind of follows Nuria. She's our game's main professor, and it's kind of her traversing the idea that kids are now being put out into the wild again, and is it too early to be doing that?
And that's why in the demo, it was up to us to beat her to prove that, this is not a rush decision. This can happen. This is something we can support.
Yeah.
And she was the last person we fought, right?
She was, yeah.
Okay, that makes complete sense. Okay, we didn't get that last time. It's kind of nice, actually. It's kind of like a blessing that we had them. Well, it's obviously, I wish we could just have both. But it's kind of nice because I'm getting details I missed last time. But going forward with the tutorial, are there going to be classes we expect to see in the new demo, or?
Yeah, so the demo is going to feature the trainer class and the artisan class, and they're sort of shells of what they're going to be. As of right now, the only real difference is your starting location and your starter Pokemon that you can choose from. That's the main thing. So the trainer will start in Violet City, and you'll have the choice between Cyndaquil, Chikorita, and Totodile. And the sorry, just a moment.
And we made the decision to make these starters locked. You said 20 IV, 20 IV, neutral nature, right? And
yeah.
That is just to keep people from making multiple accounts.
Yeah, it's just to keep people from pretty much just resetting over and over again, trying to get their shiny. All of the starters will be available in the game to catch, so you will get to shunt them. The Johto starters are going to be much rarer to find. They'll be in different higher tier locations, but you'll absolutely be able to shunt them, just not from restarting the game over and over again.
And you said you would consider special events where they become the enraged Pokemon and certain special rotations like that?
Well, there could be locations that have have enraged versions of the starters, absolutely.
And I think I know the answer to this, but Swear is asking, your account, that you use the demo with will maintain your account through regular PokeForce, correct?
Like when we release?
Yeah, so like if I have the name Minish and Minish on for accounts, when you release, our accounts will carry over to the main game, right?
Yes,
Past the
absolutely.
demo. Okay, because
Yeah.
there was some concern there, and I knew I pretty much knew that one because you said if we did the demo and we completed the last one where we battled a girl at the end, we get a special cosmetic that otherwise no one's gonna have access to.
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, when you'll log into release and you'll have in your message box the cosmetics that you've earned via playing the demos, as well as any of the badges that you earned through our demos as well. We have two separates. We have forum badges, and then we have a couple in-game badges that we released in previous demos as well.
So Condevil has a question. I'm gonna answer it in just 1 second. This is the coolest thing we heard. What is your stance on any pay-to-win type systems?
It's garbage. Pay to win is absolute garbage. Yeah, we're not going to be entertaining that at all. Like the majority of our paid content will be 100% custom cosmetics that we have the legal rights to.
And then we talked about like the idea of maybe you buy like donor status or something similar for increased odds. Is that something you're entertaining still, or?
I can't talk about the details of what we're going to monetize.
Okay.
I'm not in charge of it. That's all Allie's end, and she has asked all staff not to sort of broach the topic until we know exactly how we're going to do it.
Okay, no, that's all good. And then Condevil was asking, what is the legendary hunting system going to be like, or do you plan on having it like?
So the legendary Pokemon have been designated as our dungeon bosses. So we're going to have dungeons in the game that you can run with friends. And you can, once you're strong enough, you can challenge the legendary version of that dungeon, which has the chance to have the legendary as a boss. We plan to have revolving bosses that would swap between specific alpha enraged Pokemon or the legendary. And if you can catch the legendary, similar to PokeMMO, you have a limited amount of time with it. But each legendary will have its own utility skill that kind of determines where it's best suited to be used. So some will be best suited for battle, some will be best suited for skilling, things like that. And you informed me during our last one that there's like you have to win a battle in order to get the Dex entry in Pokemon MMO.
Yeah, and I had just put out a video. I think at the time we were discussing it, I hadn't put it out yet, but I had just put out a video since going over the horrible, horrible system that's implemented where I spent 3.5 hours trying to win a battle and just for the Dex entry. And people were just gatekeeping, running around, and just making it as obnoxious as possible and coordinating with their friends just to keep people from getting it.
Yeah, which is just that's not a type of gameplay I would want to encourage at all. So how I figure we would do it is you and your party defeat the legendary. That gets entered into your Dex. But if one of you catch it, then the whole party will get the Dex entry. One of you will be the one to have the legendary, but you'll all get the Dex entry. And I know some people really want to keep their legendaries, and we have some big plans. They're going to be very strong. So you'll be able to be like basically a super boss while you have it. And sort of how we're going to remedy that is through reward chests. When you defeat a legendary, I'd love it to be where, say you defeat Lugia, so you get your chest, and inside is a Lugia hoodie or a Lugia stuffy that you can put in your player home. Stuff you can adorn your player with to show that you have defeated Lugia. But yeah, we're not going to be allowing people that just to catch legendaries, and then you see like 60 Deoxys running around, and when you see a legendary, it's going to be an event sort of deal. Is how I'd love it to work.
Gameruku has another question. Is it possible to do duo, or is it always 5 people for dungeon? Is it like a flex system, or is the dungeon adapting the amount of players that it's possible to do?
So we haven't started working on the dungeons yet.
Okay.
So everything is conceptual at this point, but the way I'd like it to work is that they are soloable if you are good enough. Dungeons are going to be very Legend of Zelda-esque, like classic Legend of Zelda, different rooms, puzzles, keys, mini-boss rooms, stuff like that. So if you do it solo, you probably wouldn't be able to get everything, because there's going to be, there's going to be certain gates that may, like,
Teamwork
only this
puzzles like
class
Portal or
can do.
something?
Sorry?
I was wondering if you're going to do like teamwork puzzles like Portal, or is it class-specific ones?
There'd be class puzzles, team puzzles, basic puzzles. Absolutely. I love making puzzles. I've been designing dungeons since I was probably 12 years old and whatnot, through D&D and just RPG Maker. So I can't wait to get into that. But yes, absolutely, you won't need like a full team. Like if you want to just do duo, like you and your buddy, you could do like an intermediate dungeon, see how you do. If you're feeling it, like go up in difficulty to like adept, and yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see somebody just slap our dungeons around solo. I think that'd be amazing to watch.
And you talked about it last time when you beat the legendary. You said something along the lines of like a buff once you beat the legendary, maybe like certain like plants grow, or like
utility skills. So one of our design philosophies is making Pokemon as useful as possible outside of PvP meta. So, like one of the utility skills, like for Lairon, is that he can eat ore or eat scrap items and produce ore and stuff like that. The legendaries will each have their own unique utility skill, which will sort of determine maybe where it's best suited. So say like Shaman is the example we talked about, we could give them one that dramatically reduces the growth time of your crops. Or what's another good example?
maybe like Cresselia or something increases like shiny odds for a tiny bit or something of that nature. You talked about like a bunch of them.
Yeah, they're not set in stone yet, but I want legendaries to have like, I want it to be where like you catch this legendary and you open its stat page and you just like your mind explodes at like what you're looking at. Like the skill is just overpowered and the stats are just wild, but you only get like an hour with it, so you have to like monopolize the time you have with it.
Like if you get Shaman, you're running to your crops and you're just like going as fast as you
Yeah,
can to take
exactly.
advantage of it. Like you're
Yeah.
pre-gaming before you even beat the legendary,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool in concept. And then when we talk about the specific skills, like just because the breeder gets early access to like the sanctuary or whatever. Well, we didn't even talk about the sanctuary. My understanding of the sanctuary was you can now release Pokemon, right? So once you have a Pokemon, rather than just release it and send it to the Nether, you get points for the value of your Pokemon, the IVs, if it's shiny, and if you release Pokemon into your sanctuary, you can then like you talked about this part, which was sending Pokemon into the sanctuary and getting X amount of points. You could get an item that lets your Pokemon reproduce one more time.
Yeah, so the Pokemon Sanctuary is the rancher's class building. Each class has a building. The ranger has the Ranger Union headquarters, the farmhand has the agricultural center, the trainer has the Violet Academy, the artisan have the Grand Workshop. So the Pokemon Sanctuary, which currently is planned to be located in an offshoot of Route 34 south of Goldenrod, which is where the rancher will start. Any player can go there, and yeah, you can donate your Pokemon to accrue these points, and there will be a vendor in there that for those points you can get stat boosting items, the weights and whatnot that you can get Pokemon to hold, exclusive breeding items that are just like high tier. If we add like ability capsule and stuff, like that's where you'd find it. Like these sort of stat change or Pokemon stat manipulation items, they'd be high tier items from this vendor.
And when I asked you the Ocarina question the other time, it was certain Pokemon are going to get the ability to use certain Ocarina like abilities, and they're going to be determined off catch and birth, right? And I
Yeah.
asked if there was going to ever be a system like you said you can't talk about monetization, but you could still say if like this is something you could like maybe see a potential for happening is if we get a shiny, there's an item that lets us put the utility skill onto that shiny so we can have a shiny utility mon in X thing.
Yeah, it's a balance for sure, right? Because you want players to go out and explore and grind and find the Pokemon that they want, but you also want to give them the ability to, trial and error respec. So if they get a shiny, you don't want that, like, and that shiny rolls poor stats or it has, like, the worst of the utility skills that it could have rolled. I am interested in giving the player the autonomy and the agency to control that. I would want it to be expensive, and I would want it to be at
Potentially
least,
in like the sanctuary, right? Like you have to kill a bunch of Pokemon.
those kind of items would be featured in the sanctuary. I just can't confirm that kind of stuff
Of course,
is going to
nothing
exist.
we talk about is really confirmed.
Yeah.
It's all workshopping. And on that note of confirming like abilities, if we get to release and the classes are established and somebody finds an exploit that this is like the definitive fastest starting class, these are its abilities, can we expect potential class changes down the line, or are they going to be on lock? In terms
Um,
of power creep nerfs, because I know we're not able to switch classes. So the concern with being locked to our main accounts having one class, say I'm a breeder, and I find out an exploit that makes me 3 times the money as the other classes, and it gets over nerfed, and I had picked this class with that intention, is that something you could see potentially happening?
well,
Because
we
that's a
have the beta
concern.
program, which is our sort of test server. Um, so we plan on having everything rigorously tested before we release, but it would all depend on the exploit. Um, yeah, it would absolutely depend on the exploit. Like for example, in our last demo, I think 3 days in, we found out that there was a broken money duplication glitch, which completely invalidated the shiny contest because a bunch of people had already spent $10 million of free money that they got on the shiny charm and boosted their odds. So it all depends on how broken the exploit is. Obviously, in the perfect world, we'd find them before we release, but yeah, I wouldn't want. Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword when you do things like that because you don't want the game to be completely broken and unbalanced, but you also don't want to completely screw a player out of like their character.
So balance changes are going to be avoided once we hit live servers. There's you hopefully in a perfect world you get to keep those classes stationary.
Yeah, we're going to obviously try to avoid mass changes post-release to the core mechanics. Um, if it happens, it'll be very unfortunate. And you know, we'll do it in the best, kindest way we can without just completely boning you guys. Like that's not in our interests at all. It would all depend on the exploit. Like if we find out that there's some way to like duplicate your items or duplicate your money, like that has to go, right? That has to go as fast as possible.
And Allie's in charge of coding, so if we have shiny issues, it's Allie's fault. And the current state of things is going to be 1 in 20,000 shiny odds, and with a
Yeah,
pity system determined off of the individual encounter with just that species of Pokemon, not total encounters, and it resets once you get a shiny. Is that correct?
Yeah, so for the demo, it'll be 1 in 10K odds, and then for release, it'll be 1 in 20,480. And I actually, I was talking with Allie this morning, and she told me not to divulge into the pity system, so I will leave you with the information you gained last time.
Okay, and the information I gained last time, for anyone wondering, this is from me, so maybe I'm a liar, right? Hypothetically, but the information we gained last time, which was if you are shiny encountering, once you hit about 500, it'll like slowly increase your odds for every one encounter with that specific species. So if you see 30 Zigzagoons, your odds of getting a Zigzagoon are going to go up because you've encountered 30 Zigzagoons. Versus if a more rare starter is there, you're going to have less odds of getting the starter as quickly as the inflated numbers go, because it's going to be encounter to species specific. And then once you get the shiny, it resets and the pity system goes away completely. So the mechanic kind of is intended to keep the ridiculous numbers from going up, but in actuality, it's going to reinforce and make the rare Pokemon even rarer, because you're going to be seeing more Zigzagoons. So the pity mechanic is going to actually gatekeep a lot of the rare shinies, just with the way it was explained to me. And again, everything's subject to change. That might not be it come release, but it was kind of interesting. So anyone who has the fear that this game is going to be easier to hunt than MMO, from my standpoint, it's going to be a lot harder to get a rare shiny. And then we talked about an egg pity system, and that is something I really stressed, because anyone who's seen me in MMO, I'm at close to 175k eggs dry. They're now thinking about it, but there is no definitive pity system or implication. It's nothing. It's set in stone for egg pity system.
Yeah, you were the one that informed me of that as a potential
highly desirable mechanic.
Yeah,
that
so it's in my brain now.
I would hope to see.
It's something I'll consider, absolutely.
Yeah, so we're not just spending billions of resources, and just it's the worst feeling in the world, to be honest. A lot of people quit an MMO because of it. But
we want you guys to spend time in our game, but we don't want you guys to be like smashing your monitor while you're in our game.
And then while we're on the subject, I brought up that this game currently has systems which restrict players' shiny odds. So if I don't beat a region quick enough, there is a botting system designed to keep the bots out from the players, right? So if I, as a player, spend too long beating a region, I can get my account shiny locked without the ability to get it shiny to limit bot income, right? From bots selling shinies or what have you. There is you don't like such an idea. You were disgusted by such a system last time we talked. That's still the case?
Yeah, no, that blew my mind. The idea of secretly shiny locking somebody's account. Meanwhile, they're spending 500 hours in this fruitless effort to find a Pokemon that's never going to show up. That's just ridiculous.
And then they can't even tell us about it because then the bots can avoid it, is the rationale behind it. But that's just another level of... I just can never understand that kind of decision. But it's nice to know that you don't plan on putting any systems that could negatively affect a player like that into the game.
No, and yeah, if there's anything that will ever like do anything towards your account and your odds like that drastically or completely locking you out, if we ever had to resort to it, you would know. Like, you, the player, would be like, oh, and like...
There'd be a degree of transparency. Like, we had to make this decision to deal with this issue. I know it's not the ideal. We'll work on a better one, but this is the fix for now. Kind of thing.
Exactly. or like here, like because of these factors, you have been shiny locked. This is how you can prove to us you're not a bot, basically.
That'd be amazing in terms of transparency.
Yeah.
And then
No, that's brutal, man. It's absolutely brutal.
and then it also puts a degree of lack of faith and lack of trust, and it's just a whole situation we have going on currently in our game. And it's nice to know we don't see any intention of that repeating.
No, man, like I'm all integrity's huge, man. Like you and respecting your player base like is paramount. Like you guys are the ones who are going to be playing our game and supporting us. Like why would we ever just flippy the bird in the most random and secretive ways? It's just wild to me.
And what has been the development cycle so far?
The development cycle so far has been working towards demos. So we'll announce a demo and then we'll like crunch to get, that demo out. And this is actually the last time we'll be doing it that way. This is sort of the final big hurrah demo with the this is like the final cosmetic, and then we're moving away from sort of working towards demos, and we're going to be shifting specifically towards working towards release. And then as we develop and we've locked in content, we'll have burst demos, and we'll be like, hey guys, we're going to be opening our servers for this amount of time. Come play, come check out where we're at. And it'll be a lot more casual, less stressful on our end. Like we've been on crunch time for 3 weeks now, and it always feels like we need one more week. And it's not sustainable to really develop a game this way, because you're always just working towards temporary content. Whereas now we're going to be focused on getting the game out and finalizing all the stuff. Like this demo has some custom things in it that won't be in release. Like, for instance, the job board. The job board currently is the only way in this demo for us to give you trainer rank experience, which sort of determines your catch rate and certain leveled lists, and your what is it called?
Player rank?
Your
your
max level that you can get your Pokemon to.
Anyway,
So,
that's how you level up your
yeah.
your character and get access to higher level Pokemon and what have you through the bulletin board.
Yeah, that's demo specific. On release, there will be class jobs that you can do that will award you trainer rank experience. But for the most part, the purpose of the job board is to be an interesting and interactive way on getting yourself some more pocket change.
And I know one of the class-specific skills you were workshopping was for the trainer class, which would be the shiny hunting type class, or have the shiny hunting type perks. You can shiny hunt on any character, but this one would have like class-specific bonuses towards like maybe bonus XP on catches and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's necessarily the shiny hunting class. I don't think we're going to have any perks that are specific to shunting, like class-wise anyways.
That's great to hear. That's awesome.
No,
I was concerned.
The trainer class is just sort of our closest thing to original Pokemon. Like, your goal as a trainer class is to defeat the gym challenge, get all your badges, and become a champion elect, and defeat the Elite Four. That's sort of the focus of the class quest line for the trainer.
And how long have you guys been working on this game? Like, what year did you start? Like, what roadblocks have you run into?
Oh, man. Well, we started, I believe, in... Here, let me just check the old... So, Allie, Tristan, and I, and a handful of others got together in 2020, September 2020, to make a game, and it never went anywhere. And then I think it was 2 years later Allie came to me with the idea of doing a Pokemon MMO, which we originally called PokeWorlds.
I'm so glad you changed that
name. We worked on that for a couple months, and then it just kind of petered out. Didn't really know what we were doing. I went on hiatus due to family issues, and during the 6 months I was away, Allie brought the project just from the ground up, rebranded to to PokeRPG for a little bit, and then PokeForce, and then I came back in November of 2023. And yeah, it's just been a rat race since, just working away. We had synergy issues early on. You bring people on that don't mesh well, stuff like that. But we've reached a point now where we all get along. Team synergy is at an all-time high. I am so thankful for the team that we've built, and just the attitude that we all have. It's very nice. I watch a lot of projects, and I have been for years. And some of them just die because just the internal politics just combust.
Different ideas in development and drama and all that stuff. But you said the three of you are a pretty tight unit, which is great because you all have your own little lane and you just stay in it.
Yeah, Allie and I have known each other for years. I met her on Halloween of 2013, and she's known Tristan for since they were teenagers. Yeah, no, it's a really tight-knit little group that we've got going on, and I'm super thankful for it.
And I really appreciate you and Allie were helping people on the demo. I know Allie helped me when I was getting horrendously lost with the pathing, and I brought up, I'm like, please make better indications on where we're going. Because
yeah, no, for the first 2 days, Allie and I all day were in shifts, swapping in and out, just sitting in the game's world chat and helping people. And then she'd get exhausted or would have to bug fix, so I'd take over. Absolutely. The last demo, there was no map. There was...
So the shop glitch wasn't an intended mechanic, huh?
No. Our patches were bunks. You would be on Route 31, and you'd be in a patch with level 6s, and then you move over to a grass patch right beside it, and suddenly there's level 13s.
Oh, I love that. I actually liked that mechanic. I thought it was really cool. I'm like, wow, this is a hardcore game. I actually complimented you. That wasn't. Oh, I liked that. You're getting rid of that.
Yeah. So the concept is that the further off the main path of a route you go, the more difficult the Pokemon get. So if you're looking for higher Pokemon, you just kind of go off into the woods and you'll find Pokemon that are harder. We also added indicators. So the Pokemon that spawn in the overworld will have this little icon above their head. If it's a red arrow pointing up, that means they're too strong for you. They will slap you around. If it's an upwards pointing arrow that's yellow, it means that's caution. That's you could pull
you have
off
a chance, yeah.
And then there's the downward pointing blue arrow, which means it's weaker than you. And we have that for almost every type of encounter. So we have them for trainers. So you at a glance can see a trainer. You'll be able to note, oh, okay, I can't take this guy on. He's an upward red arrow. And I have made, they're not implemented yet, but I also have them made for the enraged Pokemon and the bosses as well.
I liked the idea of getting jumps. I would go into the bush, there'd be a level 7, and then I'd get jumped by level 15. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, man, this game doesn't hold back. It baited me in with the level 7. I was glazing that. I kind of like that. I'm like, this feels like a real world. Oh, there's a little baby, and then a level 15 in the same grass. I'm like, man, this is kind of cool. But that's not intended to stay that way.
No, not quite. Definitely not outside of a starting town for sure.
Oh, I was like, man, this is a hardcore game. They don't hold anything back.
I mean, once the enrage system's in, it's gonna be pretty hardcore. You're gonna like find an enrage zone and then like
You said they're gonna
six.
chase you down till you die, right? Pretty much.
Yes. So the concept is that you'll enter an enraged area, and all the Pokemon that spawn in the overworld beeline it towards you. So it's like a game of tag at that point. You're trying to maneuver
it's kill
through
or
the
be
enraged
killed.
area while not getting swarmed. And the concept that Ali and I talked about was how our swarms will work. Because you'll have hordes,
Yeah.
which is, 5 of one species of Pokemon, but then you'll have swarms, which is these enraged Pokemon, where... So we have one location that I think spawns enraged Growliths and Giraffarigs and Stantlers, I think. I think those are the 3
Oh,
that
I love
spawn
it.
there.
Yeah, dude, that's something we haven't talked about really, and this is like what really got me excited for the game is you have a good Pokemon knowledge base. We even accidentally brought up the Pokemon fake lore with the Typhlosion and the Slack Off, and you're there too.
Yeah, it's the leaks.
The leaks.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and the fact that you have Stantlers and Growlithe being the enraged Pokemon and probably like Tauros, that's kind of nice to see because it's like canon-ish.
Well, you'll see all sorts of different species of enraged Pokemon. It's like there's no Pokemon that hasn't been touched by this rage.
And you can tell if a Pokemon shiny in the overworld, right? I only saw the shiny Zigzagoon that, and I brought this up last time, but for those who don't know, my first question was the odds really 2,000 in the demo? Because I went the entire game, I saw one shiny Zigzagoon that walked onto a mushroom, and it was too high of a mushroom for me to get, so the one shiny I watched slowly despawn in front of me, which was
brutal.
And
But
after
it was 1 in
18 hours, 18 hours of play, no shinies.
Yeah, so when we were beta testing that demo, I think I caught like 6 shinies. And then during the demo, I saw one shiny Rattata, and I didn't catch it. I ended up killing it, and that was the only shiny I saw for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was like, is it 2,000 odds? And then I'm like, well, maybe it's not PokeMMO's problem. Maybe I'm the common denominator here. Like,
well, it just reminds me of that, statement of if it's not 100%,
it's 50%. Yeah, it's 50%. Yeah. Like my rock slides that missed both Pokemon 2 turns in a row.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, yep, that's PokeMMO's RNG, and this is considered a playable game, so it's a very low bar.
Yeah.
But I can totally see the situation where you're running away trying to live and then a shiny spawns in the swarm that's chasing you down. Oh, that'd be brutal.
Yeah, so you'll enter this area and say like 2 Growliths, a Girafarig, and a Stantler spawn, and they all kind of spawn in different areas. They're going to chase you down and say the Stantler hits you. So the Stantler activates a battle. The game will pause. You'll start the battle. No other Pokemon are going to spawn. But those enraged Pokemon that did spawn, they're still chasing you, and when they get to your player character, they will join the battle. So you'll be fighting 2 enraged Pokemon, and then suddenly you're fighting 5.
So Earthquake's to play.
Oh yeah, AoE moves are going to be your best friend.
Noob Week is bringing up a good idea. Is there going to be an official PokeForce YouTube channel, or drop trailers, or is it going to be word of the mouth still?
I think we have an official channel, actually. We haven't used it. We have a couple people on our staff that make videos. Like we have BJK,
okay,
who is a fairly prominent Chinese PokeMMO, or was it P1? I think he was into. But he made 2 videos about us early that both got some pretty decent views. Lynn, our PvP coordinator, who sort of vets our roster and keeps, the meta clean. He plans on making videos. We have Manic Mina on staff.
Okay, I know Mina.
She's a VTuber, and she's our media manager. We haven't really discussed anything like our own official, like really focusing on our own official YouTube, but I can see it happening. I'm pretty sure we have one that it was just like we used for early tutorials on how to kind of download the game.
Here's something we
think that's
forgot
all
to
that's
talk
on
about
there.
that we talked about last time. The PvP. You planned on having a vanilla, normal PvP type PvP, and then having specific one PvP separate with PokeForce mechanics.
Yeah, there's a couple. So early on in our development, there was an outcry from the PvP community that like absolutely did not want these custom mechanics in the game. Like just like they were pretty brutal about it. So we were like, okay, so what we'll do is we'll have a ranked PvP that is just vanilla Pokemon mechanics. And then in game you'll have wild PvP and you'll have wild, casual, and battle club PvP. Battle clubs are sort of areas you go to where you can, battle your friends, etc., whatnot. Earn points for the vendors there. It'll feature our mechanics. Wilderness PvP it's a whole mechanic we have planned where there's wilderness areas. It's sort of like the RuneScape Wilds, where if you faint in there, like you drop your items and and somebody loots you. And then we have casual, which is just you challenge your friend on a route, just a quick little challenge. That'll also feature our mechanics.
You have any plans to have like duo competitive Pokemon play? Like I could go in with a player and just have another element to tilt with my partner failing me?
Yeah, absolutely. Duos are planned. We're considering triples. Um, we've got a lot of ideas when it comes to PvP, and I don't really even want to talk about too much of it because I don't know what's going to make it in and what isn't.
Well, everything you say is speculative. Nothing is going to
That's
be
true, yeah.
taken, and anyone who thinks otherwise, I will personally flame since you can.
Thanks, man.
No, I got you. I have my role, and that's been my role forever, so I'm good with it. But so PvP, you planned on having a normal, no changes style, and then your style, which is really good. I love the idea with separation. I'm glad those people outcried because I have the same opinion. And then we're gonna have an entire storyline. Did we talk about your story in specific? Well, we did a little bit. You talked about how Pokemon are getting angry, and there's a huge issue, and just now we're opening up the world. Did you talk about why you chose this generation of Pokemon?
Allie and I chose Johto because we were pretty disappointed that Let's Go Johto never came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Johto has a really special place in my heart. Like I'm 32. I grew up with the first two gens, but when I got my first gold version, I was in grade 5, I think. And something about it was just magic, man. Like I know like the newer community like dunks on Johto because without Kanto,
They're
and in
stupid.
comparison
They're
to the newer
stupid.
ones, it's just
Anyone who says that is
fairly
stupid.
bunk.
Like you can Johto is literally Kanto extra. So if you like Kanto,
Yeah.
you can go play it with over-leveled Pokemon and just go beat it after Silver. Like that's just such a
It's
bad L take.
it was a legitimate sequel to the first generation, whereas the other generations are more so their own thing.
And like,
Um,
man, I'm a Gen 3 enjoyer, but Gen 2 and 4 are my definitive two, and it's very, very close between the two. But like, I think Soul Silver is widely considered the best re-release of all time. I don't
yeah,
think
I was in
there's.
senior year when that game came out. I spent a lot of time. It was the first and only time I ever got into competitive Pokemon play was with Soul Silver.
Really, the only time?
Yeah, that's when I like learned how to EV train and whatnot, and I just spent hours like trying to get the Pokevirus and stuff like that. Just
You know, I
oh,
got
like
Pokerus organically, and I got really scared. Like, I got like one shiny Gen 4 organically, and it was a Pelipper. But I got Pokerus long before that, and then I had the GameStop copy with the Nidoran that I didn't understand it was a shiny, and it wasn't my game anyway, so I turned it back in. I don't lose any sleep over that one. But man, I got organic Pokerus, and I was wondering what was going on with the extra dialogue with Nurse, and then I looked at my Pokemon, and I saw the symbol, and my friend told me it was gonna die, and it was like my favorite one.
Trolled.
Yeah, it got me.
The first time I saw it, my friend traded it to me and informed me what it was. And then years later, when I was playing one of the games, just on my handheld emulator, I ran into it again, and I was like, oh, there it is. I'm gonna stick you in the box.
Yeah, mine quickly became the little face with like the neutral face. I love the design of the Pokerus. Oh, is there any intent for a Pokerus? Probably not, right? Since we're
I feel like we discussed it like last year, but it's been so long that it's not in yet. I don't think. I doubt it, but
and
yeah, that's something
I know we went over legendaries are going to be raid Pokemon. Are there any plans for maybe the stupid, useless legendaries being obtainable, or?
Give me an example of a stupid, useless legendary.
There is no harm I could do to the world with a Regirock.
Oh, I have big plans for the Regis.
I love the Regis.
Oh,
They're my
man.
favorite. I'm a Gen 3 enjoyer, so Gen
Yeah.
3 is my favorite game.
Oh, I like so. Well, first off, to answer your to cap off that last question, which was why Johto. Originally, we were gonna have Johto and Kanto on release. It was such an ambitious idea that obviously we had to cut it. But Johto stuck. Anyways, for Hoenn, like I have basic ideas of what I want to do in each region, and yeah, the Regis, I have a whole thing about them planned.
I love the Regis. They're my favorite. They're so well designed.
Oh, me too.
I love to hear that. And you telling me that you're Gen 2 and 3 fan, I'm like, okay, you're hecka base, so we're chilling. Like we can look back, like I know this is personal, but we can look back at Kanto and people will be like, "Man, Gen 4 stinks. They put a microwave Pokemon." Firstly, Rotom is amazing. I don't just
Rotom's great.
Yeah, Rotom's like one of the most unique designs. I think it's grown on people, but they used to use it.
Yeah, well, there's one every time. Like Klefki was one of them. Trubbish. I love Trubbish. Trubbish is such a
Trubbish
good
is
Pokemon
in
design.
Garbodor? Man.
Yeah.
The only one who doesn't like it is Ninetales. I saw him kill it on PokeMMO. Crazy.
Brutal.
Yeah, he just really hates that Pokemon. I don't know why he would do
Like-
that. Oh, you know the ally swap mechanic? I'm trolling him right now if he sees this. You know how there's like the move ally swap for competitive?
Yeah.
So like in the place where the Garbodor is, it's actually a double encounter place. And he had a Pokemon with ally swap, and he had a shiny Garbodor. And he went to attack to kill it so he could catch the shiny Garbodor. And it used ally swap, so he killed the shiny.
Oh, brutal.
And he has like a death screech because remember, this game is unforgiving, and he just killed his shiny. It's one of the best clips we have in our category.
Who was that? I'll look that up later.
Ninetales. I'll send it to you personally. I have it.
Yeah,
I have it downloaded in case he ever tries to forget. Years from now, I'll send it to him. I love Ninetales, Guapo Ninetales. But yeah, and he's Spanish, so you hear like the oh.
Oh.
Multiple accounts are fine, right? I'm pretty sure we've already gone over
Yes.
it.
So currently, you can make as many accounts as you want, and in the future, we're going to look into consolidating the accounts that you've made, and you have multiple characters per account. It's something that we're going to be looking into much later.
So, what are some issues with development that you've run into that you didn't expect?
Time. You always think you have more time than you do. Always. Like, I think the summer demo, like, when the summer demo was happening, internally we were talking about, like, a Halloween demo. And we're like, yeah, we can totally do this. And, like, then Halloween's a week away, and you're like, oh, we're still refactoring like old code. Like, no, it's just not feasible. Yeah, time absolutely is the biggest thing. You know, we're all adults working jobs, putting as much free time into it as we can, and it just gets away from you, you know.
And then in terms of resources, you guys are completely square, right?
Yeah, it's out of our own pocket at the moment, and that's the plan until release. We don't want to accept any money from anybody until we have a product that you can enjoy. Uh, you know, we don't have huge expenses. We kind of all the three of us at the top kind of pitch in and help each other out when needed, and
And you're all in the understanding that once it gets going, we'll split evenly and we're all going to do our own part. And that's kind of super healthy and nice.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And it comes across as more of a passion project. And it's really nice that you guys are offering a game that really doesn't quite exist right now. Like, there's other versions of MMO for sure, and MMO just does what it does the best out of any game. That's why it continues to be the #1 spot despite its flaws, right? And your game is just going to be an MMO that happens to be Pokemon and Pokemon story driven, which is
Yeah,
going to be refreshing.
when we started, there was a gap in the what's the term? Words. Yeah, I don't remember. But there was a gap in like what the games that were out, and we were like, okay, there's not really a Pokemon MMO. Like, they're Pokemon multiplayer games, but not a lot of them are just like actual MMOs. MMORPGs, I should be more specific. So yeah, we figured, well, let's do it. You know, Pokemon's base gameplay loop is super compatible with survival mechanics, you know, player housing, decoration. Like, you can add onto it so easily because the original gameplay loop, it's a simple and true gameplay loop that's, you know, proven. But there's a lot more that you could do just to give the player other things to do.
So would you say you guys, I know you say it's more Harvest Moon and you've played Harvest Moon, all of them, A Wonderful Life. It's funny, I was just unpacking and we saw my copy of Harvest Moon. But you're saying it's more Harvest Moon, she's saying it's more Stardew Valley-esque, and there's also a lot of similarities to RuneScape. Where do you think you draw the most MMO inspiration from? Because I know you talked about a very niche game you used to play last time that is somehow still going and having a free run crossover.
Oh, Mabinogi.
Mabinogi.
Yeah, so we definitely were pulling the most from RuneScape and Stardew. The in-community joke is that we're Rune Valleymon.
Rune Valleymon. I like that.
Yeah. But there's even, you know, there's aspects, like, so for dungeons, the dungeons are very, like, I've worked on a ROM hack for Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. I've been making dungeons forever. I love Legend of Zelda. Like, you're going to see a lot of overlap.
Oh, so we're going to have obnoxious puzzles.
At higher levels, absolutely. Like, yeah,
gross.
You will see my sadistic side in the higher levels, absolutely. And I
gross.
can't wait.
I'm one part in intrigued, another part disgusted because I know the potential with 2D games and puzzles.
Oh, for sure. No, I love it.
You're gonna give us the wordplay too.
I played D&D, so
like, we're cooked.
I love making dungeons.
Yeah, we're cooked, chat. We're gonna get the really specific double meaning words and misdirections. That's awesome. That's really good to know.
And but bringing up Mabinogi, I'm also pulling concepts for the dungeons there. In Mabinogi, what you do is you get tickets. It's like a dungeon pass, and there's like beginner, intermediate, adept, and like different levels of them. So the way I see our dungeons working is you go to the dungeon entrance, you plug your pass in, and that determines the level of dungeon that you're going to interact with. And then also the one account multiple characters idea. I was inspired by Mabinogi for that as well.
Okay. And then the characters subclass and what have you. Like, what game do you draw the like specking into from? Is that more RuneScape-esque than anything else?
That's RuneScape, yeah.
Because it
I'm
seemed
pretty
a
sure
lot RuneScape.
Yeah, we have temporary formulas that are pulled up, like just inspired completely by RuneScape. We looked into how they, like, just their J curve leveling and stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely. That's all inspired by RuneScape.
And I know Pat talked about the item drops, and then you quickly implemented that. That was kind of cool to see in the tutorial, where you chop down a tree and then you get like a little note, and it tells you to do something.
Oh yeah, the clue scrolls.
The scrolls,
Yeah,
yes, that's what they're called. Yep.
Allie was super passionate. I had no idea what a clue scroll was when she was telling me.
I honestly never played RuneScape. I was playing League of Legends too much back then.
I played it for like a month in 2005.
There we go. We're at the same understanding.
The most I ever did was I made like maybe like 30 campfires and killed 500 cows. That's my RuneScape experience right there.
Also, something to be excited about is you're preying on 3 different types of nostalgia at once.
I know, it's great.
And you're taking the best part of Pokemon, which is unironically its battling mechanic and its IP.
Yeah.
So monetization obviously is going to be a problem with that, but I'm sure you guys, as you said, you're striking on cosmetics, and I love your aversion to pay to win. That's always super, super nice to hear. Like, grinding is a necessary. Like, grinding is what makes an MMO an MMO. There has to be annoying grinding. Like, it's just inherent to it. But it's like
Exactly.
the grinding has value to the player, and to have somebody be able to bypass it in ways that we feel unjustified is just completely game ruining, or like lack of integrity to your core mechanics that they can be avoided by a paywall is just gross.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. No, I got there was we discussed it a little bit at one point, and there was a point I got angry. Like, I was like, we are not putting any sort of monetary cap on
I wish they
that
could
are
have heard
supposed to
you
just
get
be-
actually pissed off when I talked about the monetization and the shiny locks. Like, you were taken aback, and your like voice kind of like did that thing where like you repeated the word twice. You know,
Oh, it's
when I
real,
brought up
man.
the fact that they lock accounts, and you were like, "Are you kidding?" And I'm like, "No, it's a real mechanic." And then you looked at my chat and you saw, yeah, everyone's like, "Yep, no, that's what they do."
Yeah, no, dude, that's ridiculous in my opinion. It's no. Respecting the player and holding integrity. It's, as indie developers, it's something that we have on AAA. So why would you sacrifice that?
Even now, like the biggest thing I'm complaining about this game right now, I'm actually doing on my screen, which is it's been 4 years, and if I want to, because remember, you have to kill Pokemon to breed, and starters are 1 in 9 female. So in order to like trade, 4 years we've been asking for it. I have to individually trade 5 at a time, drag, do the boxes. There is no mass ditto mechanic even now. So now I'm being the squeaky tire. Yeah, I'm doing the squeaky tire thing. Yes. Yeah, the guy
that's
is
definitely one thing that we do is especially with these demos, we all kind of huddle in after a demo and look at the feedback and go, that's a good idea, that's a great idea, that's planned, that's not planned. And like, for instance, this demo, we're gonna have a map that you can look at. We have indicators that show you, that'll give you an idea of what this Pokemon is gonna do to you if you battle it. And that was direct feedback from the community. Like, day one, they were like, "This is awful. Like, I am just getting slapped by barrels when I'm just trying to get to level 6.
I'm probably
like,
the
"Oh, that's
only
brutal."
one that is mad that that is not going to continue to be happening.
You
I was
you are the first one to say anything positive about
I
that.
loved
Yes.
it. I was talking so much shit on my chat as they were dying to these characters, and I was power leveling. I made it through your tutorial the first time, and minus getting lost, I had no issues with the battling mechanics. It was
Impressive.
it was only the walking in circles for 3.5 hours that was really cooking me. Despite that, not
Like
finding any shinies.
like day 1 in summer demo, like Sand Attack had like a 50% chance to one-hit KO a Pokemon.
Man, that was I when you told me about that, I'm like, oh, pocket sand. That should be kept like that. That'd be hilarious if you took like a
Yeah.
move and you gave it the same name and same animation and just gave it an entirely different function. Oh, that'd be
I think I
hilarious.
have a utility skill called Pocket Sand.
Are you serious?
I think so.
So like you could like blind a trainer to walk by them?
No, it's something different, but
That would be really cool. Like if you had sand attack, you could like use it out of battle to like block line of sight of trainers.
well, I mean, so we plan to have player health and, buffs and debuffs. So like if you go into Ice Cave and you're not wearing a jacket, like you can get the frostbitten debuff.
Are we going to be able to kill NPCs?
Heal NPCs, no.
Oh, okay.
No.
I figured no, but that would have
no.
been so sick. It's gonna be like a full adult game at that point.
So yeah, the thing about making a fan game is
You don't want to
there's-
power world it.
you can't disrespect the IP, or you're just putting a target on your back. Like so, a few months ago, people like in discussions we were talking about like how are players gonna get meat
Eat the Magikarps.
for cooking, right? So, and like the Slowpoke tail came up, and it was like, okay, well, what we can do is we can make Slowpoke a quest-locked byproduct Pokemon. So, you'll see in the demo that Slowpoke Well is off limits, and there's a Shrine Maiden standing in front of it. On release, there'll be a quest line you can do, which will end in you getting a certificate allowing you to have Slowpokes on your farm, and then after some amount of time, it'll shed its tail, and then you can sell or cook with that tail. But we can't outright have butchering. That's against the idea of Pokemon. Like, the core concept is that Pokemon are friends. Like, you're not going to be butchering them.
Yeah, and then Power World just won its lawsuit, and we were just talking about it. Man, I'm so sad we lost that first interview. But it's a 200 IQ move because now I get to talk to you twice.
Hey,
So we're
it was
both.
a good test run.
It was a good tutorial. It was a good
I mean,
it was a good demo of the demo.
that was my first stream interview ever.
You
I've
nailed it.
never-
Everybody who watched that
Thanks, man.
stream was messaging me that they're super excited to play this. Half of them went in not knowing anything about your game because we're kind of a weird mix of 5 communities at this point and like the dregs. So like you have people who just like play the little you see like you heard the music spawn and you see the timer. That's like a Twitch extension game and they don't even play PokeMMO and they're excited for your game. So that's kind of awesome. Especially
Well, that's really nice to hear.
I didn't know as many people played RuneScape as they do, but apparently they're like, okay, RuneScape, Pokemon, okay.
RuneScape's huge, man. Like, I remember when I was in middle school, I think it was grade 6, RuneScape took our whole generation by storm. Like, everybody was playing RuneScape. Everybody. Like, no matter who you talked to at my middle school, you could just default to talking about RuneScape.
I was given a pass because I was high level League of Legends. So I was given a pass.
Yeah, I didn't have a computer with internet back then, so I couldn't get into it. The only time I ever
Well,
got to
that's a
play
blessing.
was at a buddy's house.
That's a silver
and he
lining.
also just wanted to play it, so it's not like
Good
he was
on
gonna
you.
sacrifice his gaming time to give it to me.
Yeah, you made that's a blessing of not having a computer, never playing League of Legends.
I played League of Legends for like a week. I played Fiddlesticks, and I don't like MOBAs. They're not for me.
Fiddle's an interesting character. He's super unique and just like every single aspect of him is just he's an engage CC but like super burstable. So like tank sticks was a thing though. That was funny. Effectively, he'd be like absorbing your health, but he'd be unable to be burst down except by hard CC. So if they had no hard CC, he would cook. Because, you know, like, I'm not sure what you remember, but he can pretty much click on you and absorb your health bar. And the only thing you can do is walk of range. And then he has an ability that fears you and causes you to walk back towards him if he's a good player. So effectively, he made himself a low CDR tank and just stun locked you and slowly killed you and you couldn't escape.
Yeah, I don't remember anything. My friend's super into it, and he told me that Fiddlesticks is like the original Fiddlesticks isn't how he plays anymore.
Yeah, they've changed all the characters. They're only the same characters and names. I played for the first time in 10 years, actually, just a couple months ago. People weren't happy about it because I'd been playing Pokemon for years and I just started playing League randomly. But back to PokeForce, right? When do you think, and this is obviously speculation because my chat has been, people been asking, when do you think, and obviously time is, yeah, when do you think it's going to be released?
Yeah. Like I said, time, man. Time escapes you when you're working on a game. I'd love to, I mean, ideally, it would be like, I don't want a year drop, right? Because
this is a
people get so
hypothetical,
hung
and
up
if
on-
anybody gives you anything for this, I said it and I'm a liar.
I'd love to see it by next year at some point.
Next year, a year from now, ideally. But again, like based off the conversation with, oh, we can fit in a stupid Halloween demo, and you're just like, no, we can't.
No, we sure can't. Like when I came back to the project in 2024, they wanted to release by spring 20 or no, when I came back in 2023, they wanted to release by spring 2024.
Oh, do you think you're gonna make it?
Like, are you guys insane?
You think you're gonna make it spring in 2024? You think you got it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, dude.
No, man, time. You think you have more than you do, and it flies by so quickly.
How much goes into designing the different NPCs? And obviously you have some reuse of like assets.
Yeah, I've actually. How many have I made? Jeez.
Because you told me you're the Pixar and story guy, so I'm like, okay, this is the guy who's suffering right now because you have the biggest slice from my perspective, minus the coding, which is a skill thing.
Yeah, Allie
and debugging.
definitely has the biggest slice. I have the biggest content. Like
You have the
design
biggest
slice.
slice I'm capable of understanding.
Fair enough. Okay, so in the last month, I've made. I need to do math. 2 minus 18. I've made 84 custom NPCs in the last month.
How many do you have total?
Total, we have 102 custom sprites.
Gross.
Like these are just custom and like human NPCs.
That's gross. That's disgusting.
Because I'm like a perfectionist when it comes to aesthetics, and I do not want to see the same goddamn trainer NPCs running around. Because what I do is, I don't know if you remember in the last demo, but different times of day determines the locations of most NPCs.
Yep.
So you'll see somebody in the morning sitting by a fountain, and then it'll turn day and they'll be elsewhere, and in dusk they'll be elsewhere. And sometimes they're battleable at different times of days. Sometimes they're just a basic NPC that'll tell you a blurb of information. I sort of just wing it with them. When I'm map building, I'll add NPCs, and I'll give them basic dialogue based off of their location, or if I want to lore drop a little bit, give hints to the players.
Do you have any NPCs you're like really attached to? You spent a lot of time, and they're like core characters, and they're the ones you started out with.
Nuria and Maki.
Nuria is the one we battled right at the end of the tutorial.
Professor Nuria. Professor Nuria Cypress, actually. Sorry.
Okay, I was like,
Professor
I was a little
Cypress
like, man, she's not named after a plant, bro. I just complimented you on the lore. I was gonna be low key about it.
No, it's Professor Cypress.
Easy, nice. There's the tree.
And
Necessary.
then there's Secretary Maki, which she is the Indigo League's secretary, and she's kind of like our mascot. Like when we eventually have that sort of Pokemon intro cutscene, like "Welcome to the World of Pokemon," it will be her standing there. So when we're touching on it now. With the tutorial, but on release, you actually start in the Indigo Plateau, and you as a person in the world are registering to become a trainer, or whatever class you like. A trainer is also a class, but it's also sort of like a umbrella term. But anyways,
Yep. No, I
and
get you.
yeah, she'll be the first NPC you interact with. And we named her after the Discord bot we use, Maki.
Oh, Maki.
Yeah.
And as the Chainsaw Man correlation now. Do you not know about that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The Control Devil, the main antagonist, the horrible girl who kills everybody, is called Maki in Chainsaw Man.
Oh, Makima.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, I didn't know she killed everybody. What? Spoilers, dude. I'm only on season 1.
She's a good person, and yeah, we like her. she's a great person. Yeah, I was kidding. she's not the Control Devil.
Man, I can't escape spoilers anywhere I go.
Oh man, I'm sorry, dude.
It's no problem. I'll never forget. I don't forget spoilers.
That explains the reaction. You're like, Chainsaw Man. I'm like, how are you not? You're like, oh, Machina? You're like, wait a second. And then I'm like, oh no, I just did it.
Damn it.
No, I was just kidding, dude. I made that up.
Yeah, totally.
I made that up, dude. Don't worry about it. Oh man,
sure.
they're still only on season 1, huh? Crap.
I don't have a whole lot of. Is season 2 out yet?
Dude, I kind of just like know everything that happens, and then like I saw definitely season 1. Season 2 might be out, but I think I'm definitely in the wrong for this because I forget people don't read.
Yeah, I don't have the time to read manga anymore.
What's your favorite Pokemon movie? I think you said Pokemon Forever. No, Pokemon Forever, right?
No, we talked a lot about Forever, but
Was Celebi?
No, Pokemon 2000 is my favorite.
Pokemon 2000 is your favorite. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you like that the translation ended up being "The world turned to ash" in the English dub?
I've only seen them in English dub. I haven't gone back and watched them in original.
So, in like the Japanese dialogue is obviously better for majority for the Pokemon the year 2000, but the way the dialogue and the translation team ended up going is like, if you remember the prophecy that Slowking says, he says the world turned to ash, right? Yep. And everyone's like, oh, the world's going to turn to ash, and then it ends up being turns to ash the trainer.
Yeah.
That was exclusive only to the English dub, and that was a change, one of the few good changes that 4Kids has done.
Oh, wow. Well, they need every win they can get.
Yeah, these rice balls are excuse me, not rice balls. These donuts are fantastic.
Jelly donuts.
These jelly donuts. I lived my whole life going to Dunkin' Donuts wondering why they were never on the menu.
Right?
Yeah.
I knew, I'd had a stuffed rice ball before. And when I saw that as a kid, I was like, what?
I saw that as a kid and I thought it was a donut, and then my dad would ask me what donut I want at Sundays after church. Like when we went to Dunkin' Donuts as like a treat, and I was always mad because they never carried them, and I talked about it and no one knew what I was talking about. And then I became like a 14-year-old, and then I eventually found out it was a rice ball. I'm like, oh, they lied to me.
Yeah, the elementary school arguments we used to have.
Oh, about whether or not they were donuts?
Like surrounding onigiri. Oh yeah, because I was like dying on that hill. I was like, okay, so what's the little black piece on it? Is that just a napkin that they eat?
It's not a plum. It's not a plum. Nope. It's a donut. It's jelly. Brock said it. Would Brock lie to us? Oh, shit.
Yeah. I mean, do you trust a guy that uses his trusty frying pan as a drying pan?
I do trust a guy like that.
Fair enough.
That man raised like more than 19 kids.
You know, Brock is a G, that is for sure. I shouldn't rip on him.
They really did Brock dirty with just making him the most stereotypical person, though. And then they got rid of him and tried to replace him with Tracy, and then people are outraged.
I remember that.
Because they thought Brock would be bad for localization because he's just such he's a pervert, you know, he's a racial stereotype and all these other things. And then they got rid of him, and everyone's like, "What the heck? Put him back."
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Brock's goated. We all love Brock.
He's an amazing man.
What the
We
world's...
have big plans for Brock.
Oh, is he in the game?
Sure is.
Oh my gosh, is he part of the story? In some way? In some way.
In some way.
I'm gonna reach
there.
here. I'm gonna reach here. Does he have an important role?
Does he have an important role? Yes.
Awesome. That's as good as I can. I'm not gonna push any further because I don't want to ruin your game. But that's awesome. And you could all and then pay everyone back for the chainsaw spoilers. But anything we didn't talk about this time or last time that you think we glossed over and should revisit? We covered PvP. We covered classes. We covered skill trees. We covered your development and the difficulties and how time wasn't properly anticipated, that it was an overly ambitious project, that you really don't have a game like this, and to stop comparing it to MMO and being delusional, that this is an MMO killer. The only MMO killer is MMO itself.
Brutal.
I mean, you see me trading Ditto boxes right now. I mean, like, does this seem like a game that's been out for like 10 years? Like, I don't know. But yeah,
we never talked about the two mechanics that I'm super excited for. One of which has, it's pretty controversial. It's got some people worried. Is the needs system. And that is the idea that instead of a friendship system, your Pokemon has moods and exhaustion and hunger bars. So your Pokemon can get tired and they can get hungry.
and we already asked. We can't kill our Pokemon.
You can't kill your Pokemon, but you can make them very upset with you.
So if like a Pokemon misses Rock Slide on 2 targets 4 times, I can intentionally make it angry and neglect it as punishment.
You absolutely could, yes.
Wonderful.
Well, I never intended that to be part of the mechanic, but
and we can breed his replacement and keep him.
Brutal.
And then send him to the sanctuary. I love this game. This game's gonna be great. Go on the needs system.
Just answering a question I see in chat. The mood of the Pokemon will not change their nature. No.
Oh, that'd be horrible.
So basically, so the other mechanic is the capture mode, which is if you have a Pokemon following you, you enter battle mode when you get into an encounter. If you don't have a follower out, you enter capture mode, which is you as a trainer, Safari mode style, enters this encounter. And you can throw berries at the Pokemon. You try to sort of catch the Pokemon in alternative mechanics.
Did you make berries actually matter?
Trying to, yeah.
Can they flee off the berry throw?
I mean, it's not going to be as volatile as Safari Zone, where you click the wrong thing and it's gone. It'll be... Some will want to run away easier than others, but what you're trying to do is not enter battle mode. Because when the Pokemon enters battle mode, capture mode is done, and you have to send a Pokemon out, and you lose capture mode. You can still catch the Pokemon in battle mode, but capture mode will have friendship bonuses and mood bonuses if you can catch them by meeting the criteria of like feeding them their favorite berry and sort of lulling them into a secure mood.
Am I going to be able to throw a rock at it?
Nope, but there will be throwable items.
Oh.
So the farm class is going to have access to this quickly, but we have something called byproduct Pokemon. So like Farfetch'd produces eggs, Beedrill produces honey. You can shear Flaffy for wool. Miltank gives milk.
Farm is different than the breeder class.
Farmhand is different than the breeder class.
Okay. Is it considered an artisan class, or is those two separate?
Sorry.
I know you said for the demo, the artisan class is going to encompass like every class, but
no. So for the demo, you have a choice between the trainer and the artisan, but the only differences there are the starter choices you get and the location you spawn in. The classes aren't in full concept yet.
Yeah, because you said that almost all of like the utility are just going to be shoehorned into the artisan class for this demo, but then they'll be further divided up like breeder and farmer.
No, not quite. Artisan's the crafting class. There's no farming or breeding in this demo at all. Well, there's farming. Sorry, you can berry farm, but any class can do that. But the farmhand, yeah, they'll have quick access to byproduct Pokemon, so like if you have like a Venomoth or a Vileplume, what they produce as byproduct is status powder. So
Okay.
there's yellow powder, blue powder, purple powder, silver powder, and you as a crafter or just a player can craft status vials. So in capture mode, you can whip this vial at a Pokemon and poison them, or burn them, or put them to sleep. Would probably be the most sought after and usable one.
And we went over the fact that it's going to primarily have all Gen 2, some Gen 3.
Yeah, so our roster on release will be all of Gen 2, most of Gen 1, some of 3, and some of 4.
And are there going to be rotational? You said like the TV mechanic in the old games for like some others that will come in just for a little bit?
We have ideas for how we can introduce other Pokemon. There has been a lot of people like really disappointed that the Gen 5 Pokemon aren't going to be available for a long time because of like just how far back Unova is on our development list.
Good.
But
I hate Gen 5, but continue.
But we have talked about Safari Zone having a rotating roster of different Pokemon that can appear, and we could potentially bring some Gen 5s in.
Not the
really
starters,
depends.
though. You specified you wouldn't bring in the starters for the Safari.
No, the starters for the generations are locked to when those regions release in our game.
Okay. But we'll have access to Gen 1 in Gen 2.
You won't have access to Squirtle, Charizard, and Bulbasaur.
Really? Okay.
No, and if we do, they'll be rare and hard to find.
Okay.
But for the most part, the concept is that we're keeping certain things locked to regional releases just to maintain a reason to really be hyped for it, right? Like if we blow our load on Johto, it's like, okay, so why are we gonna? We're at this point we're just adding more regions for more quests, nothing else.
That'd be cool, though, if you had, like, since you were planning on releasing, like, Gen 1 anyway, or Gen 3 anyway, you have, like, one special mod every week. And then that gives you, like, eons. And then if people miss it, the value of each mod would be, like, crazy for breeding purposes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, we've definitely touched on the idea of the Safari Zone having a rotation. We thought of different events that we could do where, like, oh, this Pokemon is migrating for this period of time. They're in Johto at the moment, stuff like that. It really depends on our roster, because our roster's so wonky and weird and different. We have Lynn and BJK as our PvP coordinators. Their job is to maintain the validity of the Pokemon roster we have and ensuring that it's not broken. Like there isn't a broken meta in it that's just gonna sweep everything.
Yeah.
So like one thing we did, and it's the only change like this we've made so far, is we gave Magikarp a new Evo condition because Gyarados alone destroys our early game.
Oh, are you giving it Moxie or just because of the way the Mons work?
Yeah, Moxie Gyarados, I think, is specifically what breaks our game.
So we're gonna have
what-
hidden abilities off rip. That's cool.
No, not a hit. It has a new Evo condition that you need to meet in order to get a Gyarados.
Okay.
So it's Gyarados is sort of mid game locked because of this Evo condition, the way we did it, and I did it in a way that's lore friendly to the actual inspiration of what Magikarp and Gyarados are.
Can I give it 20 rare candies and kick it?
You can't kick your Pokemon, but you can definitely overfeed it candies for sure.
You get the reference though, right?
I don't.
20... James changes his Pokemon for a Magikarp. He buys a
is that how
Magikarp.
Oh no.
He buys a Magikarp on the ship
doesn't
episode.
It just become a bigger Magikarp?
No, he buys a Magikarp and then they feed it a bunch of candies and he kicks it for being useless over the side and then they turn around, they're like, "You did what?" And then they're like, "You fed rare candies to a Magikarp?" And then the Gyarados chases them down to kill them.
Oh man, you are unlocking like memories from my childhood I forgot I had.
Man, you don't remember every single Pokemon episode off the top of your head? You don't remember
don't.
You don't remember sunglasses Crocodile?
Oh. Sunglasses Crocodile, no. I remember there was the Squirtle Squad.
Squirtle Squad, yep. They put Ash got a crocodile in season 5. I hate season 5. Big the reason I hate Gen 5 is the anime nerfs to Ash. But yeah, I could go on. I quote everything. Like Torkoal's one of the best Pokemon because it almost kills itself jumping after a spoink pearl. Like it's great. Like that, the whole anime is great. Underrated. People don't appreciate it.
Yeah, I stopped watching after
Battle Frontier? Did you make it through Battle Frontier?
I think it was called Advanced Challenge.
Advanced Battle.
Advanced Battle. Yeah, the one with May and her annoying little brother.
Max is the worst. Yeah, he's insufferable.
Yeah, that's around the time when I grew out of Pokemon a little bit. I moved on to.
But you still like Gen 3 though, right?
I love Gen 3. Gen 3 is amazing.
Heck yeah.
I can't wait to redesign Hoenn. That's going to be amazing.
Are you gonna keep Pacifilog? I'm not sure if you watch stream, but it is my favorite town.
I have plans for
Pacifilog and Floroma Town.
Pacifilog looks so vulnerable, doesn't it?
That's what makes it awesome. You could literally go the entire game and never see it and beat the game, because you only need to go to Sky Pillar right here. You don't have to go there.
In a world where Pokemon are raging, like I don't see much defense.
It's like the only town that you never have to go to in all of Pokemon.
I remember when I found it randomly, I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Like, yeah, and it's like a gauntlet, because there's like 30, you can even see right here, there's like so many trainers, and the closest Pokemon Center is all the way from Moss Deep. And if you have Sutop as a list, you don't even need to come here anymore, but...
Yeah. I think Fortree was my favorite.
Fortree?
Evergrande disappointed me because it's like, oh, Evergrande City, and it's a Poke Center and a cave.
Dude, it's the best. I love Evergrande. It's the best.
Evergrande City. I was expecting like Goldenrod-esque city, like just big.
Dude, this is where you can catch love discs.
Heck yeah.
Look, I bet they're fishing right now for love discs.
I have plans for Evergrande City.
But like legitimately, even here,
actual
look how
location.
pretty the flowers are. They did such a good job.
The flowers are pretty goated.
And then like Mirage Island mechanic is like the best unnecessary mechanic in all of Pokemon. I can't see Mirage Island today, so you have to get like 30 million different trainer IDs.
Yeah.
Do you remember the mechanic where if in Gen 3 where you could talk to this one old guy in this Pokemon Center and you could exchange records and then you'd be able to battle your friends?
Yeah, Baird. That guy's name's Baird, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you'd be able to like go to your friends' secret bases, and then you would have your friends set up a team of 6 Blissies, trade it to your other friend, exchange records, and then do it like 30 times on different bases. So you'd have like 30 different Blissies you could power level through.
I never got to do that. By the time I got Gen 3 on my Game Boy Advance, my friends had moved on to Gen 4.
Did you play Emerald or did you play Ruby Sapphire?
I got Ruby first.
Okay.
I played Sapphire first because my cousin let me play it.
Is
for a little bit.
Kyogre your more desirable of the two?
I liked Groudon more.
Okay.
And then I got Emerald, and Rayquaza stole the show.
You know, I'm the biggest Gen 3 fan, and this is the one thing I don't think I've ever said. Rayquaza is my least favorite. I've never liked him.
Really?
I've never liked him. Gen 3 is
I mean,
my favorite.
I'm pretty basic, so.
Latias is my favorite Pokemon. Like, I love every Gen 3 Pokemon. I got into a 2-hour raging, shouting match about people telling me Huntail is a dumb Pokemon back in the day. Huntail.
I didn't. Okay, this is insane. Until like 3 months ago, I thought Huntail and Goribus were Gen 4. I had no idea.
Bro, you're
I had
the
idea
second.
that
Someone
they were
tried
in
to
this
tell
game.
a popular streamer whose name I will not name drop was trying to tell me he thought this was Gen 5.
No, I thought that was Gen 4 for sure.
We
Like,
actually
I would have died on that hill.
We actually had the same discussion. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? You need to come back with dive. You need to go to the abandoned ship. You need to do the puzzle, which, by the way, puzzles in Gen 3 are goated, especially the Reggies. And you love the Reggies, and you're a Zelda fan, so you probably respect the heck out of Gen 3. But you need to go. You need to, after you get to the post, you get dive. You go get the item. You turn the item into Captain Stern, and then Captain Stern gives you a choice between Huntail and Goribus, and then you just pick your poison. So like, it's amazing to me that like somebody tried to make the argument that Huntail is not like a lot of people's favorite Pokemon. Yeah, did you know you can't lock your game here with the $50? If you have less than $50, I'll just let you in. There's a pity dialogue.
I think I ran into that, yeah.
You had less than $50, and they're like, "Oh, you're dumb." Just let you in.
This poor kid.
Yeah. But so the two mechanics. Do you think you talked about them well enough, or?
Well, I talked about capture mode, but capture mode is a integral feature of the Ranger class. The Ranger class is all about capturing enraged Pokemon. So most routes that you see, you'll find a Ranger station, and inside each Ranger station, you'll get information about what enraged dens are on that route, and you'll get quests to go capture those alpha enraged Pokemon and deliver them to these stations. I'm very excited for capture mode. The need system, the controversial one, is that
So people like capture mode. People are okay with capture mode. People like capture mode. People are okay with capture mode. There hasn't been any capture mode hate.
No, I haven't. I've heard people just not understand it. But no, it's the needs system is the one that has people worried because it turns your Pokemon into virtual pets, basically. You have to take care of them. It's only the ones in your party. The ones in your box get locked, and their stuff won't go down. So you don't have to like maintain 6,000 Pokemon. That'd be insane. But yeah, so as you battle a Pokemon, they'll become more tired, and you'll have to camp and feed them, rest them. So and yeah, if you don't maintain them properly, they'll become disobedient and they'll be annoying. And it's a balancing act, right? Because I really like this mechanic, but you have to find that sweet spot where it's not just completely annoying, right?
Yeah.
So I want it to be about as taxing as like when you run out of PP for a move. Like you'll have items to maintain your Pokemon and stuff.
Are they going to be purchasable at the store, or do we need to grow our own crops just so our Pokemon don't get famished?
No, there's vending machines everywhere. There's markets where you can buy food. There's cafes that you can buy food. Like, coffee is going to be an item which gives you like a stamina buff.
Is there
Like
gonna be debuffs associated with being famished, or are we just gonna piss our Pokemon off and make it hate us?
I can actually read you the
Awesome.
famished debuff. Um, that's the wrong doc. Where are you? But no, you'll have options. You don't have to cook. Like, to get the better buffs, you'll want to cook your own food, for sure, or buy other people's well-made foods. So where is it? Do I not have it in this one? This is old information, but it's the concept.
Okay.
Where are the buffs and debuffs? So the old concept for exhausted, which was your Pokemon becomes disobedient, its stats are halved, you spend 2 power points per move, and a 25% chance of falling asleep.
What?
That's
So it's
the
not
original
even.
concept.
Oh my gosh.
That's so punishing. It's not the same
Yeah,
anymore.
I was thinking like he goes in with like an intimidate proc or a -1 special, depending like -1/-1.
I have a
Gosh.
much better understanding of the mechanics of Pokemon now than when I wrote that original document.
Yeah, you would that'd be game altering. I can see myself getting
absolutely.
angry. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
no.
You see a shiny, your Pokemon falls asleep, it kills you, and you lose it. I'm crashing out. You get a shiny starter, and it just kills you because your Pokemon's famished because you've been hunting too long. I'm already like envisioning with your rage mechanic that like we see a Pokemon and it's shiny, and then it's like in the middle of everything, and you run back to try and get it, and you get killed in front of it, and it despawns.
Brutal.
If we get killed in front of an enraged Pokemon and we go to the Pokemon Center, does the Pokemon despawn in the overworld?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
So if I'm at an enraged mechanic goes off, okay, and I have 30 Growlithe's chasing me, and the Growlithe is coming at me in the background. One of the back Growlithe's is shiny. I die in front of it. Do I go to the Pokemon Center? Obviously, can I go back to the location, or is that shiny just gone?
That shiny is gone. However, I will say this: there will never be an instance where there are 30 Pokemon on screen at one time chasing you.
Oh, it's gonna be like 5.
I think it's capped at 5 spawns at the moment.
Okay, because you said 5. I'm picturing like the worst. I'm picturing like a much less unforgiving game, and you're doing away with the 15 level difference in grass spawns. That sucks.
Well, sort of. We moved them, so each route has its basic path where you'll find the lower levels, and then you go off the main path into the woods or up a mountain, and the further away from that path you go, and the further away from spawn towns as well, the stronger the Pokemon. So you'll find nooks and crannies on every route where there are stronger Pokemon. I think in like Route 29, the enraged Pokemon, I think we just lowered them, but before they were like high 30s, early 40s. which is like insane for outside of New Barktown.
Man, what are some of the better options we might have that have Pokemon besides Gyarados that have proven problematic?
Well, I think the Pokemon that are definitely going to be top tier are probably Weavile and Scizor.
Early access to Scissor. You're gonna get a
You
metal
do
coat.
well. There's a fairly early way to get Scyther, but
Wow, Scyther's high
he,
BST. That's crazy.
he's one of our rarest spawns, and he's limited to one location early game.
So it might be in your best interest to do what would shiny lock you in PokeMMO.
Well, what we did here is that Evo items are rare. They're going to be high sought after. They're high tier quest reward type deals, like dungeon loot drops, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to just like find a metal coat. And somebody selling a metal coat's going to be selling pricey.
Especially
How
early
rare it'll
game.
be.
Yeah, especially early.
Yeah.
Is there going to be, well, we talked about it last time, but just to reiterate, I'm sure a lot of people, because I know you said you don't like pay to win, and you're not going to give
Yeah.
me a specific answer. So this is just you and your view. Does the concept of a WoW token like thing disgust you? Like, I could pay $20 to get X currency at the game's rate for a direct conversion for $20. Do you like that? Is that considered pay to win by your definition? Is that something like you wouldn't be against being in the game, or is that icky? You as a person, not implementation.
Personally, I find that to be icky. That's how you easily overinflate your economy.
Because it's great to hear you say that, because obviously that's great for you, the developer. Like, that's like the world's
for sure.
best
Yeah,
thing.
it would be money in my pocket.
You're gonna
but,
get 2 whales into this game, and you're gonna make your yearly cost. But
like I could consider that pay to win because we're gonna have vehicles, right? So you'll have there's the bike, the motorbike, and the boat. And if you just drop $20, buy a boat immediately, like
you can just go
the
catch
whole-
a over leveled Pokemon and just steamroll your game.
Yeah. Well, we have the trainer rank system kind of bars that.
Yeah, it doesn't
but,
let you use. Yep.
No, there's a lot of things that are Poke-Yen gated. And if you have early access to a butt ton of money, you're gonna slap everybody around you.
And you have no intentions of ever doing any incorporation or investment because you guys are able to handle the costs yourselves.
Yeah, no, at this time we have no plans on taking money from anywhere but our own pockets.
And the game is most likely going to be a free-to-play model
Yeah.
with just cosmetics, no overhead costs, just download, and then if you want cosmetics, pay.
Yeah, pretty much. That's my understanding of it. Yeah.
Awesome. Because obviously avoiding the specifics. And am I able to create a new account,
Yeah.
like name right now, and grab a name?
Yeah, you can do that like right now.
How would I do that? Because I have a name I
I-
want, and I don't even want to say it out loud until I get it.
Yeah, you'd go to our forums
Okay.
and you'd sign up. And yeah, our forum is linked to the game. So your forum account is your game account.
So I would come here, register now, and then how do I spell Allie's name? What's the spelling?
ALY
ALY
EIA. Yeah.
EIA. Like that? ALEIA?
No. ALYCIA. You're trying to snipe the account that I think that account is number one. Number one registered.
No, I haven't. It might not be the right characters.
Brutal. New week. Yes. We do plan to have Pokemon cosmetics.
Like for your Pokemon can wear costumes?
Yeah. I wouldn't go out and say costume. Like the only one that I've made so far is a ribbon for Frostlass.
It's not as cool because you don't let me have the characters. But I wanted her name shiny locked me. But it's too many characters. I wasn't even saying it out loud. Dang, that would be such a good name.
Trying to get me slapped, man?
No, dude, this is my own independent action. In fact, you're even...
Yeah, I can't control what you do, that's for sure.
I'm still going to grab this name because this is a good name.
What would you do if it was already sniped?
I would be impressed. I would think, wow, that's a pretty base individual to come up with such a great concept.
Well, I guess it's just a matter of if I can type faster than you.
Ooh, yeah. Please don't.
No, I have no interest in
You just
that.
made me fuck up my birthday. I was like ready to lock in. I was just like, okay, random numbers. Let's get this locked in. And then I just go to my confirmation, and that is good. Nice. So I got that as a third account. That is a really good third account to have. Nice. And
There
it's
you
going to
go.
be super passive aggressive. So like if she's in global chat, I could just hop onto this account and then just spread propaganda.
Terrorizer.
Yeah, this is, yes, I have the name. I have the name, chat. Thank you so much. I'm so happy.
It's all yours, man.
At least it locked me. Shiny locked would have been way better, but this is fine. Dang. All right. I think that we've done a good job, and I appreciate you, and thank you for your time, and I look forward to the demo. That's going to be tomorrow, right?
No, it'll be the 29th on Tuesday.
The 29th Tuesday, not... Oh, wait, that's tomorrow's Monday. I'm so tired. Okay, yep. Well, I can't wait for Tuesday. It's going to be fun, and I appreciate what you guys are doing, and I look forward to your project, man. Anybody you want to shout out or anything you want to say before we end out?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, like Allie is working away, like just complete grind. My team, everybody involved in this project is just working so hard to get this demo out. I can't wait to see everybody play it, and I'll see you guys there.
Well, Lavender, thank you for your time, and peace. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Oh, pleasure. Glad we got to do two. I wish we didn't have to do two, but I was awesome talking the second time, too.
Oh, it's fun. We covered more, too.
Yeah, I think this was better because we had more of an understanding, but... All right, let you go. Bye, bud.
Peace out.